Now what will it be? Death or exile?
I don't want to.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the TV Exiles. This week we are continuing our look at HBO's new series Watchmen. As a reminder, we will be covering each episode with more spoilers as we discuss the growing narrative. So let's get into episode 6. And let's start with the official synopsis from HBO. Deep under the influence of nostalgia, Angela gets a first-hand account of her grandfather's journey. My ongoing question every week has been, is this Watchmen? And the answer for this episode is different. While it does not feel like the continuation of the original story, it is easily the most Watchmen episode by far. Almost the entire episode is based around the memories of Angela, aka Night Sister's grandfather. We see him as a young man joining the police force in the 1940s, and we see him deal with extreme racism of the time. He learns that being a police officer earns him little to no respect as a black man. But he takes notice of the corruption around him and continues to follow the trail. Unfortunately, he is found out by his fellow white officers who drive him out to nowhere, cover his head, and hang him. Luckily for Will, they do cut him down and threaten to finish the job next time if he doesn't back off. Walking home with the noose still around his neck, he encounters a couple being mugged. He decides to put the sack back on his head and to intervene, but this time not as an officer, as a vigilante. And it is this moment that he becomes Hooded Justice. Like any superhero origins, we are shown a flurry of scenes with him in his new costume, accepting his new mantle, but with the twist that he paints around his eyes white to make people think he's a white man. And based in the in-universe American Hero Story TV show, it is a secret that is still undiscovered in modern day. There's far more that happens in this episode, but I really feel it should be watched as it's really just excellent storytelling and fills in a great history for the Minutemen. What I will say, though, is that many events in this episode mirror what we have been shown on American Hero Story, but they play out differently as we are watching the real memories of those events and not a sensationalized dramatization. The episode ends with Angela waking from the memories of her grandfather, hooked to a strange device, and being watched over by Lady True. On a technical side, this episode was really excellent. The bulk of it plays out in black and white with some random splashes of color. There are also some really clever shots showing the passage of time, the change of location, or even changing from Angela to Will as the same character. All really well done and really built that feeling that we are in her grandfather's memories. The score was very different this episode as we are witnessing a different time period. It's all great work, again, from Reznor and Ross, and it's nice to see them step outside the sounds we generally associate with their scoring. And finally, let's talk about Easter eggs again. This episode was packed with references, characters, details. I will pick a few of my favorites, but know that there are many, many more. First off, the title of this episode about Hooded Justice is The Extraordinary Being. And this is a really neat Easter egg coming from a quote from Night Owl's book, where he refers to Hooded Justice as an extraordinary being. A more real-world egg would be that Will's badge as a police officer is given to him by William Battle, who in our real world was actually the first black police officer in New York City. This was a great way to ground these fantastical events in realism by using our own history. And probably my favorite Easter egg comes from Angela as she wakes up to Lady True by her bedside reading a book. That book is none other than The Fountainhead, read by Ayn Rand. I love this because the story and its author are so often ignorantly used against Zack Snyder fans since he is attached to make a film of it. It is great seeing it pop up, and I hope it causes more than a few people to get a little triggered. And that will do it for this week. And until next time, stay exiled.